The U.S. Coast Guard confirmed early on Wednesday that rescue teams looking for the missing Titanic submersible detected underwater noises in the search area where the craft went missing 2 days earlier. The Titan, operated by US-based OceanGate Expeditions, was built to stay underwater for 96 hours, according to its specifications, giving the 5 people aboard until Thursday morning before air runs out. Engro Corp Vice Chairman Shahzada Dawood, his 19-year-old son Sulaiman, British billionaire Hamish Harding, French explorer Paul-Henri Nargeolet, OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush were on board the craft that went missing near the wreck of the Titanic. Sulaiman and Shahzada Dawood. Reuters. Canadian P-3 aircraft detected underwater noises in the search area. As a result, remotely operated vehicle, operations were relocated in an attempt to explore the origin of the noises, the U.S. Coast Guard's 1st District said on its official Twitter page. The RO searches have yielded negative results but continue, the Maritime Military Branch added. The Coast Guard did not detail the nature or extent of the sounds that were detected, or how they were picked up. But CNN and Rolling Stone magazine, citing internal U.S. government communications, independently reported late on Tuesday that banging sounds were detected by Canadian aircraft at 30-minute intervals in the search area. Rolling Stone, the first to report the news, said the sounds were detected by sonar buoys deployed in the area close to the distress position and that additional sonar picked up more banging 4 hours later. CNN cited a U.S. government memo also as saying that additional sounds were heard about 4 hours after initial banging were detected, although the news channel said the second occurrence of noise was not described as banging. Additional acoustic feedback was heard and will assist in vectoring surface assets and also indicating continued hope of survivors, CNN quoted the updated government memo as saying. It was not immediately clear if the news reports were based on the same source. Search for missing sub like going into space. Rescuers trying to find the orca-sized submersible are facing a gargantuan task that will test the limits of technical know-how, experts say. It's pitch black down there. It's freezing cold. The seabed is mud, and it's undulating. You can't see your hand in front of your face, Titanic expert Tim Moulton told NBC News Now. It's really a bit like being an astronaut going into space. U.S. Coast Guard Captain Jamie Frederick told reporters on Tuesday that his organization was coordinating the search. But, he said, it was incredibly difficult, and far beyond what the Coast Guard would normally tackle. While the U.S. Coast Guard has assumed the role of search and rescue mission coordinator, we do not have all of the necessary expertise and equipment required in a search of this nature, he said. This is a complex search effort, which requires multiple agencies with subject matter expertise and specialized equipment. Frederick explained that rescuers were using multiple methods as they comb the vast area for the Titan, which lost contact with its mothership just 2 hours into its dive near the Titanic's watery grave. The search efforts have focused on both surface with C-130 aircraft searching by sight and with radar, and subsurface with P-3 aircraft, were able to drop and monitor sonar buoys. The effort was being augmented on Tuesday by a huge pipe-laying vessel, which has a remotely operated vehicle expected to be deployed at the Titan's last known position. Jules Jaffe, who was part of the team that developed the optical imaging system used to find the Titanic in 1985, said rescuers would have to look in 3 separate places. It's either sitting on the seafloor, somewhere in the water column, or sitting on the surface, he told ABC 10 in San Diego. It could be in the water column. I think that's probably the most likely place it is. Jamie Pringle, a professor of forensic geosciences at Keele University in Britain, said if the mini-sub had settled on the ocean floor, it could be very difficult to spot. The bottom of the ocean is not flat, there are lots of hills and canyons, Pringle said, according to NBC. Adding to the challenge, the enormous pressure 4 kilometers underwater, around 400 times what it is on the surface. Such pressures put enormous strains on equipment, and very few vessels can survive these depths.
and it had 5 persons on board the submersible. The location of the search is approximately 900 miles east of Cape Cod in a water depth of roughly 13,000 feet. It is a remote area and it is a challenge to conduct a search in that remote area, but we are deploying all available assets to make sure that we can locate the craft and rescue the people on board. We understand from the operator of the vessel that the vessel was designed with a 96-hour sustainment capability if there was an emergency on board. And so we're using that time, making the best use of every moment of that time to locate the vessel. We've subsequently coordinated with the Canadian Coast Guard and Canadian Armed Forces to deploy additional assets to the scene. The Canadians have had a C-130 aircraft searching as well, in addition to also having a P-8 submarine search aircraft deploy as well, and put sonar buoys in the water in attempt to listen. Our aerial assets that are being deployed have the capability to do both visual and radar searches, and the Canadians' asset had the ability to drop sonar buoys and listen, and so we're using all that information to improve our search capability.